I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the Batmen weren't enough to keep The Flash from tripping up at the box office. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, The Flash has flopped. Raise of hands who saw this coming? I have my hand raised, by the way. So you're probably wondering, why is that? Hey, what's happening, gamers and DC fans? Welcome back to the O1 channel. It's time for another Bat News. Today we're talking about Ezra Miller's The Flash, which features Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, Sasha Calle, and a slew of cameos, which just aren't enough to keep The Flash from falling on its face. It's kind of what a lot of us expected. And people are probably wondering, like, why is that? I heard that the movie doesn't have any identity politics. I heard that the story is actually good. Michael Keaton's awesome in the movie. So why is the public not supporting the film? Well, I mean, there's a lot of different people wearing hats that are to blame for The Flash's failure. I blame the marketing. I blame James Gunn. I blame Ezra a lot for the controversial things that Ezra did, which, I mean, my personal stance, I think that Ezra Miller should have been arrested and did some time, not just say sorry for the things that they did. But, you know, that doesn't really happen in Hollywood. Elites get away with literally murder, and they protect their own. You know, watch when the Aquaman movie comes out and people are doing outcry because of basically Amber Heard. You know, Hollywood is still going to protect her because, you know, she's Hollywood elite. And when people don't go see the movie, there's going to be all these articles about people that are defenders of Amber, which there are some, saying that people who don't support this movie, well, you hate women. You know, that's the type of headlines that they're going to have. I'm actually surprised that a lot of, we'll say, SJWs in the film industry aren't making articles attacking fans for not supporting The Flash based on Ezra's identifying whatever. You know, Ezra's quote-unquote a protected class in Hollywood. So I'm really surprised that Hollywood has kind of turned their back on Ezra. But, I mean, you know, life is full of surprises. Ezra managed to tick off everybody. So I guess for the first time in a long time, theater audiences, journalists, and everyone else is all on the same page, which feels weird, but it is what it is. So why is James Gunn at fault for this movie? Well, James Gunn changed the ending. He also took out the cameos that people wanted to see, namely Superman. Superman actually had a few quick cameos in person, which Henry Cavill was paid $275,000 to appear in, but they yeeted him out of the movie. And what did they give us? They still gave us some Superman, you know, for the opening of the movie, but they gave us Superman from behind on television to explain where he is and why he can't help Batman and the Flash deal with some problems in the States. So, but, you know, that's really not good enough, and when a lot of Henry Cavill fans found out about that, well, they got pretty upset and said they were going to boycott the movie, which is exactly what they did. Make fun of the Black Adam movie all you want, but the Henry Cavill fans, once they found out he was in there, they did attend. Even though they didn't attend fast enough, they were able to bring the box office up just a little bit. In comparison, right now, The Flash's box office is lower than that of Black Adam when Black Adam released. In fact, The Flash is projected to only make $350 million worldwide by the time it's out of the box office. Now, I think those projections are a little bit too low, based on Michael Keaton's star power and the fact that the movie is actually good. I would say that probably around 500 to 450 million would be a higher projection. I know that's me being optimistic, that's still a flop, but that would still be higher than James Gunn's The Suicide Squad 2, which released at the tail end of the pandemic when stuff was still available on HBO Max as well as in the theaters. So this is essentially another flop for James Gunn when, you know, he just took over as the head of DC Film Studios or whatever it's called. So, I mean, that doesn't look good. But yeah, definitely, like, taking out the cameos for characters that you wanted to see didn't really make any sense. I don't know why James Gunn did that. Changing the ending of the film also made people upset because originally the ending of the movie featured Ben Affleck, and it led into a either big crossover film called Final Crisis, or it was a direct tease for the second Flash movie, which, if you saw the Flash movie, which I haven't, I see it tomorrow, at the end of the original Flash movie, Ben Affleck came back, kind of, and teased a bigger role of what happened to the Snyder Universe. Unfortunately, this movie, which is well known, it essentially does what I said all those years ago. It erases the Snyderverse. In not like a terrible way, in a Flashpoint kind of way. Basically, Batman tells Flash not to go back in time. Flash goes back in time, basically, and does the whole Flashpoint comic book thing. The old universe, which was the pre-52 from the comics, stuff from the 80s through the 2000s, was wiped clean. And at the end of the Flashpoint, a new universe was created, known as the New 52, where everyone was about 15, 20 years younger, including Batman and Superman, and it was a retelling of their origins. Essentially, that's what happens in this movie, except with a few twists. What James Gunn could have done is probably not have made a big announcement that he was going to fire Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck and all these other actors that were the face of DC films for the past 10 years. He probably should have waited until San Diego Comic-Con, because all of that publicity didn't really help the films that were still coming out, like Shazam and The Flash, and Blue Beetle and Aquaman are probably both going to bomb as well, because fans have this mindset, why do I need to go to this movie if in the grand scheme of the story of the past 10 years, it doesn't matter. It's like seeing each individual movie, and each individual movie as a whole isn't really good because it doesn't really connect to anything. So you have that mindset with a lot of DC fans. And like or hate the Snyder fans, they are very loyal. And if you don't give them what they want, which was they wanted to see their Superman in the film interact with the Justice League one last time, and, James Gunn got rid of that. Andy has even said there's a 4-hour cut of The Flash that has more cameos, has more content, but he's very happy with the theatrical cut. But I think, he really likes the Flash movie that he made. Now, on to the other stuff, the Henry Cavill stuff aside. The Ben Affleck stuff, Ben got his graceful exit, from what I heard. He's really cool in the movie, even though I don't like his new costume. I think it looks stupid. But he finally understood the character. He's in a good place. And it would have been great for him to continue playing the character, but he doesn't want to. So you got Ben Affleck fans that, some of them, it's just too painful for them to go to the movie to see Ben one last time as Batman, whereas others are, going to support their Batman. But again, a lot of this has to do with marketing. And let's address the elephant in the room, because I really don't want to talk about the controversial stuff. But the public's mindset of Ezra is not in a good space right now. It also hurt Ezra that the fact that a majority of the Flash reviews before the film came out, in the early screenings and the early fan showings, most of the reviews were blasting Ezra. Justice needed to be served for all Ezra's antics, and the public's very mad. So their way of punishing Ezra is by not supporting the Flash, which they have every right to do. I'm not going to chastise fellow filmgoers and DC fans. Ezra messed up. Ezra needed to pay for, what they did, and it didn't happen. So this is another form of protest by fans of superheroes and, just moral decency. So that is a huge aspect. Now, it would have been impossible to replace Ezra's character, considering Barry Allen in the movie plays multiple versions of Barry Allen. So Barry sees himself in so many different ways, but there'd be no way to replace Ezra because the whole movie would have had to been scrapped like Batgirl. Now, Batgirl was scrapped because of how terrible it was. The Flash, just like David Zaslav and James Gunn said, from what the consensus is, it's a good movie. Michael Keaton shines in it. I would say that Supergirl, she really brings that Superman love, even though she's not Superman. Plays a good Flashpoint Superman. And, the film has a good message. It's about family. A lot of people probably should have supported it, but they don't want to. And, again, a lot of consequences for Ezra's antics, for Hollywood antics as well. Yeah, we have to address the Hollywood stuff. So when this movie was in production, Walter Hamada's team basically said that it was going to have, the woke stuff in it. And the public caught wind of that, and the people that don't like that kind of stuff, said, hey, this isn't cool. Why are you going to do this? And why are you, basically gender-swapping Superman? That doesn't look like Kara. And then you had the people that are all for that. You know, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that they're going to do this, which is a very small minority of people. Like, it's not the majority of the film goers or the general audience that Walter Hamada and his team were catering to. But unfortunately, what happened was people caught wind of that, and based on what was happening with Marvel films and what these crazy executives were talking about before the merger, well, the public was kind of like, I don't care if Michael Keaton's in this. Not just counting the stuff that Ezra did. I don't want to be like Hollywood-splained while I'm sitting there. And also, I don't want them to ruin the Man of Steel. People weren't happy that they were basically redoing the Man of Steel movie and killing off Henry Cavill's character and replacing him with a woman. That bothered a lot of people. I remember reporting on some of the stuff that they were doing, basically kind of retelling Superman's origin, but with the actress in the lead instead of course, Henry. But of course, things changed, production changed, things were reshot, and it became its own thing. Kara attacking Zod is completely different than when Henry and Zod fought, as is the outcome of their battle. So all that is very interesting. Some of the changes that James Gunn did to the story, like the ending and the post-credit scenes, I can understand why he did it, but it probably would have worked better the way that Walter Hamada, had it. Like it or hate it, that's what Walter Hamada was planning on doing, is building up to a bigger crossover film, bringing back both Henry and Ben Affleck. And of course, we're not getting that. We're going to get a new Superman and a Batman in the next couple years, and hopefully they're comic accurate, but who knows with, Hollywood castings these days. You have no idea. Which is weird because the Quixote's Superman film, the black one, is still in development, but it's under the Elseworlds banner, which it should be, because there's supposed to be more DC Elseworlds films. The Flash movie is supposed to build into an Elseworlds universe, but now with it flopping, I don't know what's going to happen with it, to be honest. The film can be as great as it is story-wise, but if it doesn't make that box office money, then it's toast, as well as any dreams that the director or Ezra had. Now, Ezra doesn't have a spot in the new DC universe right now anyway for James Gunn's Gods and Monsters, so the Flash, can basically burn to a crisp and it won't really affect James Gunn's stuff, nor will he get fired by Zaslav, because while he's the head of DC Studios, this is still under Walter Hamada's tenure or time at the company, so any problems that happen with that film would be Walter's fault, and he's not with the company anymore. But they can, of course, point the blame at him if they want to. Do I think that the movie is going to do that well? No. I think that the marketing for the film was terrible. I think that people's idea of what was going to be in the movie, I don't blame them for jumping the gun, because, that's all Hollywood has been saying about their movies, like The Little Mermaid and stuff, for years. So basically what we're seeing right now is not a theater recession. We're seeing film goers protest with their wallet. They don't want to support this kind of stuff in the movies anymore, and they're not going to. So, more power to them. As long as they don't attack people on social media and harass actors that they don't like, just use your wallet. That's the best form of protest that you can do. Like with Target, like with Budweiser, you don't have to burn things to the ground to get people to pay attention to you or kill people or be violent. There's other forms of protest that works just as well. And in Target's case, it's lost $17 billion in market cap. The company is listing. And all because they went against the moms. Their biggest core demographic was moms and families, and they ticked them off. So they reaped what they sowed, I will be seeing The Flash tomorrow, so I will be able to tell you if the movie's really good or not. But I don't really have a big pull to get people to go and watch stuff anymore. So, my review is just going to be a ripple in, like, a vast ocean. Maybe some people will be impacted by it, good or bad, but not really, People definitely had a clear bias when they went into the film, and it's kind of sad, especially when Michael Keaton, from what I heard, does amazing in the film, and people are very happy that love the '89 Batman and Batman Returns movies, and just like Keaton in general as Batman. So Keaton fans, be very, very happy. The new Supergirl is fine. Ezra, surprisingly, is much better as the Flash, from what people have been saying, compared to his other appearances as the Flash. And, Ben and even Gal are great. So You know, it's a shame that it happened, but, you know, maybe with James Gunn's direction, DC will have, like, be more a well-oiled machine instead of everybody doing their own thing, which kind of led to the film being the way it is. It's a disaster from marketing standpoint, from word of mouth, from audience's perception of it, even before it came out. They shouldn't have done so many early screenings for fans. They were worried about the film, and, you know, it all tripped up, unfortunately, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So just to wrap up, my final thoughts on why the film failed. James Gunn's changing the ending, getting rid of Henry Cavill's role, Henry Cavill fans being upset, Ben Affleck fans being upset, the part of the story changing a little bit, and people wanted more of their 10-year superheroes to show up as cameos one last time before the slate was wiped clean. My last thing to point a finger at is James Gunn for announcing his new plan for the DC Cinematic Universe before the final one wrapped up. He probably could have waited until San Diego Comic-Con and dropped the bomb that Henry and Ben and other people wouldn't be back, which I think after seeing The Flash, more people would have gone to try to figure out what was going on. And maybe part of them would have been at peace knowing that the universe had been erased. And maybe they'd be more open to the idea. But James just had to tease the idea of getting rid of Superman not long after his appearance in Black Adam. And fans aren't happy. And the box office performance is, you know, definitely a reflection of that. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to check out a new series, I'll be playing Crash Bandicoot's Team Rumble over on my Let's Play channel this afternoon. And we'll be talking about more Batman-related news stuff as it happens. In the comment section below, tell me what you thought about the Flash movie. Do you think it deserved to flop? Or do you think there was something else at play with the movie? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, keep it locked here for more news on everything Batman in video game, TV, movies, and occasionally comics when they don't suck. I'll see you with my Flash review later this week.